Hello, Leo. This is your December 2017 horoscope with me, Lada from Astrolada.com. I wanted to shoot from the beautiful beaches of Maui today for you, Leo, because you're like the sun. You need the sun. You've been missing the sun for the last 2.5 years. Saturn has been in the fifth house for Leos, which is the house of the sun, of shining, of being Leo-like, of having fun, and Saturn's been suppressing that. So I was thinking, I'll bring some sun to you with the good news that Saturn is changing signs and it's changing. It's not going to be in your fifth house, suppressing your joy, like fun and ability to enjoy yourself and to let yourself loose and to be creative and childlike. Hot and I'm getting too dizzy, and this pregnancy I'm bigger, so hope you would understand that. So I'm shooting from the bedroom, the most comfortable place for me right now, and I might even lie down for a little bit if I get too out of breath. But here is your December 2017 horoscope, Leo, and I want to tell you that the first part of the horoscope will be focused on predictions till 2020, because Saturn in December changes signs. And you can come back to this video over and over for the next 2.5 years to see how, and to basically you start seeing gradually from December what a big shift is happening karmically in your life, and how all the responsibilities and duties are moving in a different area in your life, which for some of you might be a great relief. But there'll be a new set of challenges, and let's say a new set of responsibilities and duties and restrictions and austerities that we have to learn to incorporate, learn from them, better in our life, that area, wherever Saturn goes. But the good news is that Saturn leaves the fifth house, where it's been there for 2.5 years. And if your ascendant in particular very strongly is a Leo, and also your moon or sun to a lesser degree, but you still feel it, maybe you'll notice that in the last 2.5 years or around that time, there was less of fun, less of ability to enjoy yourself because of maybe some duties, responsibilities, less of a natural, joyful, spontaneous expression of your of a childlike, fun, creative side. Again, maybe because of responsibilities, because Saturn is like that. Maybe there were extra duties and responsibilities that came in your life because of children. I'm one of your Leos. My moon is in Leo. And I feel the prediction from the moon even more strongly than sometimes than the rest. And, been pregnant for 2 years nonstop. And where is the fun in that? Fifth house, the house of enjoying yourself and stuff. And Saturn is carrying a burden. Have your responsibility on having to be responsible for some. Fifth house rules children, so some of you might have had certain responsibilities connected to children, connected to maybe some of you, in the worst case scenario, might have even separated a little bit from a child or children, growing up, maturing, leaving, or them just giving you a heavier set of duties. And also maybe your creative, spontaneous, childlike fun side was more trampled or more restricted with more austerities, or your maybe duties and responsibilities. This allowed you to enjoy the things that you really like doing, like passion, hobbies, things that make you feel alive. And also the fifth house is anything to do with romantic love and dating. Nothing but serious dating and romantic love would have done for you for the past 2.5 years, and possibly there might have been a few heartbreaks there, because Saturn is not about pampering us, it's about showing us the reality of a house it is in. Hopefully we learned our lessons from there. We became more realistic on how to what to expect, what to want from a romantic partner, and we dissected that area of our life. But Saturn is moving in December, guys, and this is very awkward position for Saturn when it's in the fifth house, because the fifth house has the opposite nature of Saturn. Saturn is like on the fringes of our solar system. It freezes, it cools down. The fifth house is about shining, spontaneity, having fun, burning like the sun, and all those things might have been. Being in love, might have been suppressed, or came with a dose of responsibility or reality slap, so to speak. But also, for example, there was a huge awakening for me that what I want from my love life, and that that I cannot compromise. Saturn is not compromising. Many of you might have realized that they cannot compromise on certain things when it comes to love and relationships. And hopefully we take those lessons and bring them with us life, because whatever Saturn builds, whatever Saturn streamlines, it also removes a lot of things that are unnecessary, that are just dragging us down or making us live in an illusion, we tend to gain those valuable lessons for life, no matter how painful they are, because Saturn never does anything the easy way. But Saturn is moving from this natural Leo-like house, so you start becoming more and more like yourself from the end of December. Just for Christmas, guys, Saturn is out of your 5th house, so you can party like you in 80 or whatever, you know. But you definitely will start feeling lighter. You start feeling a bit more like yourself. Your creative energy starts, fun side, your flirty side comes out again. Maybe your love life might become easy as well, not all about responsibilities and duties. And maybe there were some problems with children. They might, the last time they can reappear as a final goodbye, and all those issues that we talked about, Saturn in the 5th house, might kind of reappear for the last time, be triggered by in December now, 2017, because Mercury goes retrograde there, conjunct Saturn. So it's like a final, you know, exit, bow to this 2.5-year lessons that you had, and almost like summarizing, because Mercury is the planet of, you know, of especially when it goes retrograde in December in your 5th house, about recapitulation, about summarizing them, about making conclusions of some sort rationally. So this Mercury retrograde in December will help you kind of wrap up everything that's been happening in the last 2.5 years in regards to Saturn in your 2nd house, to revise maybe the lessons of love or gain love, or the new rules that you created for yourself in love, for your creative, maybe wrapping up some creative and completing some creative project, putting the final touches about it, maybe some creative project from the past that also requires a lot of effort, because Saturn is there as well. That you know, that creative project that you enjoy but that turned into work in some way might come back from the past for you to complete, to put final touches to. Maybe some issues with children can come back from the past to be resolved, or with lovers can come back, and even a lover can come back from the past, or some affectionate relationship we had with someone, to maybe to talk it out, or to have a closure about it, or to make some final conclusions about it. So December, expect those things. And also kind of realization of some sort of completion of this whole cycle is happening in December. And then so also, you know, lovers from the past can come, important conversation centered around love and expression of fun and creativity, and the need to revise and, you know, make like a sober final assessment of all those things, or some creative project you're working on, or something like that. So let's see though, Saturn is moving into Capricorn. What will that bring for the next 2.5 years? Starting from December, I said this lifting up of this more heavy feeling. But Saturn in the 6th house comes with its own set of challenges, even though it's one of the more favorable places for Saturn, to give you the heads up. According to ancient astrology, the most difficult positions for Saturn are being in the 1st house, being in the 6th house, being in the 5th, in the 1st, in the 5th, and in the 8th house, because Saturn is enemy with naturally connected to those houses. And the Sun. So the 5th house is the house of the Sun. That's why maybe quite a few Leos might have felt like they're not themselves so much, or that life is a bit less of this glamorous adventure that they'll prefer it to be, and it's a bit more of a routine thing, while Saturn was in their 5th house, because it's kind of drained the Sun. You know, Saturn is, imagine ice, the Sun is sun, so they're kind of in a fight. Mars is fire, Saturn is ice as well. So, you know, the houses of Mars, like the 8th and the 1st of Mars, I mean, are where it's more difficult. But in the 6th house, it's a natural house connected with Mercury, and it's a house of organization, order, duties, responsibilities. And Saturn's nature is all about duties, responsibilities, work, you know, and it goes really well there. Actually, it helps you structure your mind as well, helps you get more organized. It's not going to happen overnight, guys. That's why Saturn gives you 2.5 years, 2.3 years, you know, to get yourself in order. Moon in Leo, there will be more, you structure your feelings more. you'd learn to manage your feelings in your inner world and your mental problems more. If it's your sun, definitely your mental, because the sun is more connected to the mental, and career organization will happen to you, an organization of your goals more. If it's your ascendant sign in Leo, well, then your overall life and actually connected to health and the physical. For the three, sun, moon, and ascendant, they're connected to the physical body. They can be more order, more structure, more discipline and organization. And by the way, I have great news, because Saturn is extremely strong in its own sign, and it tends to give more the positive results at the end rather than negative results only. Because Saturn in its own sign, or any planet when it's in its own sign, tends to try to give the results of that house it is in. So for you, it's the sixth house, Leos, whether you're sun, moon, or ascendant. And the sixth house, as I said, is streamlining, making your work more efficient. Say you have a business and you've been checking your emails like me, one by one, and you don't have an automatic message response, or this takes you 6 hours like it does to me. So there is not so much organization in your desk or in your work activity, or maybe, and all of a sudden, Saturn always increases the burden and responsibilities of work when it's in the sixth house. And all of a sudden, it becomes overwhelming when Saturn enters your sixth house. Gradually, it becomes so much that you start breaking down. There's like pressure on your mental health, physical health, or just emotional happiness, because of wherever Saturn goes, it increases responsibilities. Like in the fifth house towards children, maybe your creative project. In the sixth house, overall towards your work duties, towards efficiency, order. So you need to be way more ordered and organized all of a sudden, because otherwise a chaos becomes, a breakdown of a system, or your daily routines will become, and you might feel overwhelmed. So what do? You learn to streamline, to cut off the unnecessary, to find ways, maybe using Excel sheets, maybe using, incorporating software, or incorporating some kind of system of organization of some sort. Well, Saturn and some structure. Saturn in Capricorn is about creating some structure, some routine, some discipline, which allows you to be organized at home, or just like I'll have to learn to be organized at home with two babies now. Saturn in the sixth house from the second, lots more responsibilities and duties come to you, guys, but you kind of are, with Saturn in Capricorn, you can take on the challenge, and you're not like, okay, I'm willing to put on the effort, and Saturn will help you materialize and create the routine over the next 2.5 years, which is much more efficient, which cuts off the necessary actions that might waste a lot of your time. Otherwise you might break down. I'm telling you again, it's like Saturn in the sixth house. If you don't become more efficient, ordered, organized, and work clever rather than work only loads, you become a slave. This is the Saturn in the sixth house is a combination for slavery, just slaving away. So, for example, people that work in offices, they might take extra hours. It's not necessary that you'll be forced into it, even though Saturn can have this energy of a bit of forcefulness, but you might just want to take some extra hours. You might want to and work overtime, but all those duties and responsibilities, workload will increase. Or if you're at home, something will happen that you have to be again more organized, more productive, more efficient, and lots of duties and errands even at home to run, because even if you don't work, it's six houses, your daily responsibilities and duties. So this and tested system to be organized, finding a way to, and money can increase, by the way, guys, because workload increases here. And Saturn is making a trine aspect to your second house, so it can stabilize your resources. But at the same time, it's only if you increase the workload as well. And sometimes there can be a lot of pressure on your health because of that when Saturn is in the sixth house. It might start with mental, if it's from your sun, with moon, more emotional health, but still, even the sun and the moon, they rule the physical body, important parts of the physical body. So it's time for a reality check in regards to your health. What does it mean? Well, I hope you've been eating well and working out well, not like me, because whatever Saturn goes through, and 6th house, the house of health, it gives you a reality check, and it gives you the consequences of your actions. Nothing less, nothing more. It's not gonna, doesn't want to torture you, doesn't want to, it's not God punishing you, something like that. But sometimes, because it's a material world, the consequences of our actions, they're delayed. When you think of pink elephant, you don't materialize it. But say if you've been in 6th house, what is it connected to? Your duties and responsibilities at work, for example. So let's say if you've been, and your health. So let's look at both examples, how it can work out. Say you've been neglecting your duties and responsibilities, or say you've been working stupid, in a sense, like me, not efficient, and working too much or like not organizing well enough or something like that. Or worst case scenario, say you've been very negligent, or you've been avoiding certain responsibilities in your life, or your duties at work, or kind of, what is this word, when everyone else is taking the necessary part of work and you're kind of like always trying to take less and trying to delegate, or just not being responsible enough towards your work, or in worst case scenario, if you've done something negative to colleagues or to work, or then now you will see the results of those actions. Hopefully, when you see that, they become obvious to you, so you correct your path of action, so you become more responsible towards your work, so you become more disciplined, or you become more organized, or towards your health. Say you've been, like all of us Leos like to party and have fun, we've been overdoing the drinking, or we've been overdoing something for years. Well, now the consequences might come. For example, you might start seeing your body giving you some chronic conditions, because Saturn, 6th house is health. Saturn is about something that has been lingering there, lingering. It's not something that comes to you sudden onset without, warning. Maybe you've been pre-diabetic for years, and now an onset of diabetes comes. So maybe you've been, it might be another example. So say you've been running 15 miles for years, and that's putting a lot of pressure on your joints, and now Saturn enters the 6th house, and your joints, if you've been underdoing something in regards to your health, in regards to your health routines, food, do it work in duty and responsibilities, you will see the consequences. Nothing more, nothing less. And be ready for it, and don't blame unfortunate fate or universe. It's, I'm kind of scared because I haven't been the healthiest, but usually Saturn always has given you warning signals before that. Again, it's not going to be like all of a sudden some health problem out of the blue. That is nothing that you've ever even suspected. And the good news is that when Saturn is in the 6th house, yes, illnesses can appear, or if you've been very healthy and if you've been very balanced, actually you'd find yourself in great control of your health. You'd find yourself even more disciplined, even more. Saturn in Capricorn gives structure, discipline in regards to your health, in regards to how you handle your work. If you've been really good with your work, with your colleagues, with your responsibilities and duties and order and organization, which I'm not good with order and organization, then, I went into a Leo mode talking about myself and lost my thought. But if you are not good at those things, well, things will get tough, so you become good. You have no choice. And if you resist, you feel like the universe is dragging you in that direction. You're like, yeah, I don't want to do it, but if you're like, okay, have to become organized, it's high time now, the circumstances will pressure into it, and you'll build a habit over the next 2.5 years, which stays for life. So after this transit, you'll be much more organized, much more responsible. Maybe if you're not in the right work or employment, if you've been, you might just become super dissatisfied because it becomes unbearable. You get given more responsibilities or duties, or some oppressive figure might appear, especially senior, older figure that can appear that puts pressure on you of some sort. But such figures can appear in your work position or something, or too many bureaucratic restrictions, or too many protocol that you have to follow. And if you're not in the right work or employment, you might just say, that's it. Saturn either deepens the commitment or cuts it off if you're not fully invested in it. If you're not willing to build a stronger foundation and structure that is more not about that, like working like crazy, but doing a little bit every day, that's systematic, that helps you. Just like Saturn, for example, let me give you an example. If you've been studying if you're a student in university and you have exams at the end of the year, and every day you study 1 hour a day, then when the exams come, you probably need to revise 1 or 2 hours a day again before the exams. This is how Saturn wants to work. Every day a little bit. When it's in the 6th house, every day start with walking 20-30 minutes every day. He doesn't want you to go sweat yourself in the gym and die from exhaustion and cause yourself hyperventilation and whatever. Every day little bit of efforts in your health. That's the way to work through Saturn. Don't go signing yourself for marathons. Don't go pushing yourself to extreme health diets, to extreme fasting and stuff like that. Saturn will help you be much more disciplined and organized, but little by little. That's the strategy of Saturn with your health, with your work as well. Don't go workload. You've been putting away something, all of a sudden you have to prove yourself, you have to finish all the work, and you work from 9 till 9 in the or from 9 till 12 in the evening. This is the way to make yourself, and this can happen with Saturn in the 6th house, but this is not the way to do Saturn in the 6th or Saturn in any house. The way to do it is every day a little bit. So putting a little bit more effort initially, maybe to find some system that is more systemized, that is more organized, and every day inputting your data, every day load of clothes, every day putting, today I'll do the laundry, tomorrow it's the plates, the other day, rather than, cramming it all at once, because then it becomes very unbearable, whatever Saturn is, because it will increase the workload again. So you have to create a system. It's also for your health. And I wanted to say, yes, health problems can appear, and the way to deal with them is step by step. It might take 2.5 years before you reach some manageable condition of health. And before you establish kind of this, this habit that will stay for life. People who change their health habit and their work habit, 6th house, it's longevity. It stays for life. Or even if you change your job, if it's no more satisfying, Saturn makes it. And if you've been skirting whatever or not doing your share load, you might get fired. The company might close or something like that, because you're not really where you're meant to be. You're not really giving the service in the right place, because you're not putting the necessary right amounts daily of commitment. So you might have to restructure your work and find a new find different employment, which might be a bit slow and hefty with Saturn. And it will again come with more responsibilities. But it's not necessary that it's bad, But as I said, in regards to health, every day, if a problem appears, kind of block and deny, because it restricts, blocks and denies access to right physicians, to the right treatment. Maybe they might be too busy, or they might be quite elderly, but you can be your own, your own instructor and manager, and you have to learn to manage those health conditions. Saturn in the 6th house does not necessarily eradicate fully a health condition. It kind of freezes it, or it kind of helps you manage it through conscious efforts and self-discipline. So yes, say your pre-diabetes turned into diabetes. What you do, you start managing, your diet, which requires discipline, but little effort. Like, don't all of a sudden just cut everything and just eat fruits and vegetables, And you have to do it gradually. Today, remove one thing. Next week, another thing. This is the way Saturn works and guarantees longevity. And because Saturn is the planet of longevity, and it wants step by step little, it also shows how most people can make the biggest and long-lasting changes in life is gradually, rather than all at once. When, I don't know if you've done it, but when you say, I'm cutting all this off, or from tomorrow I'm doing all this, you stick with it for 2-3 days and then it goes away. But now Saturn will give you the right circumstances, the right environment, the right state of mind, that you do it day by day, little by little. And again, if you decide to just jump both feet, from tomorrow diet, from tomorrow, I'm just not going to eat sugar, I'm not going to eat I'm getting vegan, and the likelihood of success is less likelier, smaller. So small steps, little by little, but don't postpone. The more you postpone, the more the negative effects of Saturn will be seen in the 6th house. So hope I managed to give you kind of an idea of how this is very interesting transit of Saturn in the 6th house. Again, if you want to make a transformation of your health habits, it will happen gradually, but it will be for life, lasting. Maybe you can put a routine, and it's not something that's too strenuous, but it's something that's repetitive on a daily basis. It's something that you incorporate in your life. It's not a fad diet that Saturn allows you. They're not going to work. That like a Spartan diet for 40 days or something, or for 2 months. No. And if you go to such extremes, again, they're not going to work. Or if you're kind of, okay, I'm going to be avoiding my work responsibilities, and the last 3 days, I'm going to all of a sudden work to do everything at once. Something will break down. It's not going to work. Every day a little bit, or even if you're a student, every day a little bit of those responsibilities. That's how you will sail through that period, guys, smoothly. So get into your mind this state of consciousness, and, Saturn will definitely be on your side. Another thing is 6th house is death in Vedic ancient astrology, even though I'm using tropical here, but I've noticed it. It's managing poverty. And Saturn allows it. It makes a trine to the 2nd house, maybe by upping your workload, taking extra hours, plus also by, working harder. It can help you manage austerities and kind of debts. But again, it doesn't happen overnight. You might have to extend the deadlines. Some debts and loans you personally not own to you, but the ones that you own, might take longer to pay off, and sometimes people get heavier burdens of debt and loan as well, and they have to learn to manage those, even though access to resources might be more lacking in a sense to resources for those debts and loans, but at the same time, your self-discipline and to structure yourself, to create some system to pay them off is much more present and lasting and long, and so it allows you, by the end of this period, you might have really made a progress to structure, to remortgage, to organize your and debt in a more structured way, but it only happens through hard work. Don't expect miracles, don't expect sudden fall of fortune. And yes, we're all getting ready for a bit more responsibility, a bit more work, putting our head down a little bit. But at least Saturn is not in our 5th house. And in 2019, Jupiter enters our 5th house, Leo. So we'll get to party more. First we're adjusting 2018 to the increased responsibilities, to being more kind of, to have a more disciplined work ethic, to clear up. And by the way, Saturn is about building walls. 6th house is enemies. And anything that's adversarial to you. It might be microbes, it might be visible and invisible that's adversarial to you. Microbes, robbers, attackers, crimer, people that want to harm you, people that hate you in some way. Interesting, you probably haven't heard that. And Saturn will allow you to build, to with gradual persistence, it's not going to eradicate your enemies, but will help you manage them, and will help you allow you not to allow them to cause damage, and will allow you to recognize who those are, because Saturn slows down a house it is in. It freezes the energy of that house. And the negative side of this is either the diseases we have, so we have time to recognize what we're doing unconsciously that causes health problem, or we can have time because things slow down in that house. Saturn freezes them. We have time to recognize what kind of actions are causing us to attract those enemies, or what kind of activities, and to manage them, and actually how to better regulate such competitors, adversarial people. And by the way, it's more likely to have adversarial people from influences from people with strong Capricorn of some sort, strong Saturn, or to have problems from such people, people that are older, senior, in higher positions, which is what Saturn is. And the good thing is, though, that you're the one who can manage it and who can be more in control, because it's in your 6th house, So at the end of the day, you come out by having managed such situation, by being able to maybe not eradicate and make everyone love you. That's impossible, you know, and that's not the goal of Saturn. The goal of Saturn is slowing down, maintaining, making you see your actions and kind of making a different slow changes there. Okay, I think we really dissected that sixth house. Oh, but I forgot. People that work in medical, people that are in the police, in military, in medical, in government job, in service jobs, the customer services of any sort, conflict resolution of any sort. Someone calls like, oh, you know, oh, my phone hasn't arrived. I want, you know, your delivery is late. I want people that deal with complaints and customer service and stuff like that. It's all sixth house careers. Well, they should expect that they can have some kind of even promotion in their work, extra, but it comes through extra duties and responsibilities. They'll have a very heavy workload. People in social services is also the sixth house. If you work in any of those fields, medical, you know, or working with the poor, with the addicted, with prostitutes, with anyone that is in a disadvantaged state, usually social services of some sort, they are sixth house because they're serving others, and your workload will increase. You can get a job in such position if you're looking for one, or in a position where you're organizing something for someone, structuring something for someone, that you are servicing someone or resolving conflicts of some sort. You know, this can definitely be a time where you can find such jobs, but they would always flow. So if you're in those positions, expect more clients, but don't expect it to be easy, but expect it definitely to increase your responsibilities, yes, and working hours. Woo, that was it, guys. You have to come back to this video over and over and over. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you an understanding of how those energies work. December, as we said, it's kind of the last activation of the fifth house, and we talked about it at the beginning. But watch out, 2018. Here we are, coming much more organized, much more serious about our work, and from 2019 also able to party more. So thank you so much. And by the way, fifth house, well, Saturn's in the fifth house. If there were some blockages to having children or delays, they'll be removed now. Anyway, I love you, Leos, and yes, happy new year, or have fun, you know, Saturn coming out of your fifth house towards the 20th of December. Bye bye. Oh, I forgot to say, webinar, guys, on the 10th of December, the 9th of December. You see how I have to learn to organize myself better. I don't remember. With Robert Phoenix, an astrologer who witnessed the previous Saturn in Capricorn with thousands of clients. He saw what happened in their lives. I think I was just learning to walk around that time or speak. So this is someone who will make a webinar 30% off, only $29. He'll have amazing insights, making personal predictions, how Saturn in Capricorn will affect them according to their rising sign, sun sign, and aspect it's going to make to their horoscopes. Do come and join us, 30% off till the 10th. After that, it's a bit more expensive. And then there we have a Ancient Astrology 102. You don't need to know any astrology to attend this. It's a workshop for 2 days, 14 hours, Saturday and Sunday, the middle of December. What better present to give yourself than that? And it's $180, but it's like so much information from the leading astrologer of Babylonian astrology, Roman Kalev. He is the top Babylonian astrologer. Actually, he was the one who rediscovered Babylonian astrology and translated the clay tablets and everything. So we'll be going through each degree of the zodiac sign, and that's the fixed zodiac sign, and not only the 12 constellations, but all the other 46 or how many 50 constellations that are around. For example, I was born with Dolphin rising on the ascendant. I mean, constellation of the goat, but there is a dolphin constellation also there. And I've been able to swim from the moment I remember, you know, and love water. Or someone might be born with a constellation of an insect, and they might be bitten by that insect, or with the constellation of a snake, they might have fascination with anything. Degree by degree, it will describe your life in pictures. Like, it's so funny, but it's almost like a reflection. It's really, the constellations reflect your life. They're not so psychological, like tropical astrologies, but they are basically very literal, and we'll read from an ancient text of those 12 hours, which is not translated. We'll read it directly from ancient Greek. So no one in the world has this information, guys. If you want to be the top, and again, the only thing you need to understand is the degrees, and we'll give you each chart. We'll generate, Roman Colef will generate the chart. And all you have to know is the degrees and what each degree means. We'll speak about that one by one by one. You have the patience for 14 hours. If you want to be an astrologer with no other knowledge like astrologers, this is a text that is 2,000 years old, has not been translated from ancient Greek. So what each constellation means and where you have it in your horoscope and which one is the most important for you. That would be tremendous webinar. It's worth it, probably $1,000. We've made it only 180, so it's accessible to you. So thank you so much for giving me the time to make this announcement. And yeah, I love you, and I'll see you soon.